Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have the Mosasaurus. During the Cretaceous period, which spanned about 145.5 to 65.5 million years ago, there was this genus of reptiles called Mosasauruses. These things were absolutely huge aquatic reptiles that roamed throughout the waterways here on Earth. Because of their size, they became apex predators during this time and have been estimated to have grown to about 56 feet. At the time of their existence, it isn't exactly likely that they would have encountered any sharks that are alarmingly large like the Megalodon was, but I mean, the Cretaceous period certainly had some other massive creatures that put up some stiff competition. This is of course, like I mentioned, an entire genus, so there are definitely some less threatening species in the mix, but there are some in there who would have given the Meg a run for their money should they have existed at the same time. In our number 9 spot today, we have the Atlantic wolffish. When you see a picture of these guys, it becomes clear where exactly their name comes from. These bottom-dwelling fish are armed with somewhere from 4 to 6 fang-like teeth on their jaws, and behind that there are 3 more menacing rows of teeth. While that is already enough to at least kind of freak a person out, that is not where the teeth end. No, of course not. It is said that these guys also have scattered in their throat some serrated teeth as well. Yeah, definitely kind of nightmare-inducing if you ask me. These guys also have a long eel-like body that can reach lengths of over 1.5 meters, so they aren't exactly small either. I think it's safe to say that I'm just glad that they are a fish that prefer the depths of the ocean and not more shallow waters. In our number 8 spot today, we have the vampire squid. These guys get their name because, well, in some ways, they kind of look like vampires. I mean, they have this fantastic red color, they have glowing eyes, and they have a webbing between their arms which sometimes appears like a sort of cloak. I mean, that is basically the definition of what a vampire looks like, right? The squid part of their name, though, is where things get a little bit more mixed up because they aren't squids and they aren't octopuses either, but they do share qualities with both of them. They don't actually belong to either of those families, and they're instead in a category of their own entirely. In the past, there were more members in this same family, but the vampire squid is now the last remaining member, which is why they are often referred to as a living fossil. In our number 7 spot today, we have the STAREATER. These guys are also sometimes referred to as snaggletooth, and that might just be due to their sharp, needle-like teeth. These guys were recently found in the waters between Australia and New Zealand, and to be honest, they're pretty unpleasant to look at. Like, they just look aggressive, you know what I mean? These guys, like many other deep-sea predators, have a red chin barbel that is used as a sort of lure to attract other prey. Once the prey has been sufficiently bamboozled, they then use these needle-like teeth I mentioned to capture them. They might not be the largest or scariest creature on this list, but they definitely should not be underestimated. In our number 6 spot today, we have the barreleye. These guys are also known as spookfish, and they have these large, protruding, telescopic eyes that are enclosed in a transparent dome of soft tissue. That was a long way of saying they have a see-through head, and it is so weird to look at. These guys can't be taken out of their deep-sea environment because they are unable to withstand the change in pressure, so for a while after their initial discovery, the only way people who had seen them in the deep sea could show anyone else what they looked like was through drawing. Imagine trying to tell someone that you found a fish with a see-through head, but you have no evidence to prove it. These guys are usually found motionless, just kind of floating in one spot, as they don't tend to move around a bunch at a depth of around 600 to 800 meters in the ocean. Honestly, they aren't crazy predators like others on this list. They simply just appear ghostly almost. It's both really cool and really unsettling. In our number 5 spot today, we have the monkfish. These guys aren't always a deep sea fish, but there are various species who like to make their homes quite deep at around 1,000 meters below the surface of the sea. These guys are characterized by their broad, flat mouths that are armed full of teeth. These teeth are long and pointed and just generally terrifying. These creatures also have enormous stomachs that give them enough room to be able to swallow their entire prey whole, should they need to. They also have a sort of bulb of flesh that is attached to their heads, which is meant to lure in smaller fish who look at it as bait. In our number 4 spot today, we have the BASILOSAURUS. These guys have a name that translates to king lizard, and they are a genus of large, predatory, prehistoric whales that lived during the Eocene, which is approximately 41.3 to 33.9 million years ago. These guys were actually first described in 1834, which makes them the first prehistoric whale known to science. These guys were one of the largest, if not the largest of their time, and they were the top predators of their environment. They preyed on sharks, large fish, other marine animals, including the dolphin-like Dorudon. They were really able to eat basically anything they felt like. These guys even had teeth that were various types, like canines and molars, which probably allowed these creatures to chew their food, which is different from their more modern ancestors. In our number 3 spot today, we have the black swallower fish. These guys are a species of deep sea fish that are best known for their ability to swallow fish larger than themselves whole. These guys are actually quite common and widespread and tend to prefer depths of around 700 to 2,500 meters. They aren't very large fish, but they are long and compressed and don't have scales. Their lower jaw protrudes past their upper, and both jaws are lined with a row of sharp teeth, with the first 3 in each jaw being enlarged to canines. The way their jaw is shaped allows the jaw to swing down further, which is what allows them the room to swallow objects larger than their own head. From there, their stomach is distendable enough that it can hold prey over twice the length of the predator and 10 times its own mass. All I'm saying is that these guys are ambitious. In our number 2 spot today, we have the anglerfish. This bony fish is known for its luminescent horn that is used to lure other fish as prey. There are different kinds of anglerfish, but those who live in the deep sea are referred to as sea devils, which truly does feel fitting. The females are much larger than the males and can reach up to almost 4 feet, while the males can reach up to 5.5 inches. The anglerfish is able to eat prey that is the same size as itself. So just like the last fish, they clearly have quite the appetite. Luckily, most anglerfish remain so deep in the ocean that they are not a threat to humans, and even if they did live not quite so deep in the ocean, most humans would just be too big for them to even try to attack. That sure doesn't mean they aren't crazy to look at though. In our number 1 spot today, we have the PLESIOSAURUS. Another massive prehistoric creature. These guys grew to be around 40 feet long and about the size of some whales we would see today. These creatures are best known for their insane hunting abilities. They could move quickly and were quite strong. This effective predator skill set, coupled with their massive size, allowed them the ability to take down much larger prey, sometimes even dinosaurs. According to experts, these guys had exceptionally strong jaws. Some even believe that it might have had a bite just as powerful as a T-Rex, which is of course known for having one of the most powerful bites of any land animal ever. I'm just saying, these guys were definitely a top predator in their day.
Starting us off at number 10 is the barreleye fish. Now this fish isn't that creepy looking, I will admit, but it is a little gross and futuristic looking. Why? Because you can see directly inside its head. Since the Mariana Trench is so deep and dark, how the heck is a fish gonna see where it's going or what's around them? Answer: they're gonna make their own light. The barreleye fish has a transparent head with 2 barrel-like eyes inside of its head that face upwards. This lets the fish see the silhouettes of its prey. How convenient. Scientists believe that its transparent head allows for the barreleye fish to collect just a bit more light, which gives this fish just a bit more of an advantage over its deep water competition. The barreleye fish wasn't even known to humans until 1939, when one was pulled from its underwater home at 2,500 feet below the surface. Although they can't survive past a certain point, as they are too used to the deep underwater pressure. Luckily, scientists now have high-tech underwater rovers that they can use to go learn more about the reproduction and life cycles of these strange fish.
In our number 9 spot today, we have the frilled shark. Okay, regular sharks are of course scary and powerful, but the frilled shark looks extra terrifying because it actually just looks like a full-on monster. The frilled shark is a species of deep-sea shark that got its name from the 6 to 7 frilled gills it has on the sides of its snake-like body. This shark can grow up to 1.8 meters or 6 feet long, and its mouth is full of 300 razor-sharp teeth. This shark was one of the first deep-sea species to ever be discovered because how could you possibly miss something that looks like this? But because it makes its home so deep in the ocean, and because of the fact that it cannot withstand the pressure change when brought up closer to the surface, a lot remains a mystery about these guys. What's worse than a shark is a mysterious shark. In our number 8 spot today, we have the HELICOPRION. Sure. Okay, listen. There are many problems with our modern world. We could sit here talking about them all day, and into next week there are so many. But here's one thing that we need to realize. Things could be so much worse, and by worse, I mean this creature could still exist. This animal existed somewhere around 250 million years ago, and while it looks more like a shark than anything else, scientists now know that it's actually a creature that is related more closely to chimeras, which are a fish that separated from the shark family about 400 500 million years ago. So why is this animal so scary and just terrible to look at? Well, that is due to the incredibly unsettling spiral saw formation of teeth that this creature had right on their lower jaw. Yeah, an orthodontist's dream, truly. It's also not like this creature was just born with the teeth that they had for the rest of their lives. No, of course not. They had teeth that could grow, and new teeth could even form. Imagine being in the ocean and you see a huge creature swim up to you that has 4 spiral saws for teeth. Yeah, no thanks. In our number 7 spot today, we have the deep sea dragonfish. These guys are a pretty strong contender for strangest looking animal on this list. These predatory fish use their fang-like teeth to grab onto their prey in their dark, cold, deep sea environment. They have no scales and instead slippery eel-like skin, which only adds to their creepiness level. Similar to an anglerfish, these guys have a little lighted barbel that hangs from its lower jaw to attract its prey towards it. These fish really use bioluminescence to their advantage, but they also have another, less common ability. Firstly, since many of their prey are also bioluminescent, they have a special stomach that will ensure the light cannot be seen from inside of their stomach so as to not give away their position. And secondly, they are also able to produce a red glow. This glow is thought to perhaps be used to signal other dragonfish, but it is definitely used by them to illuminate and detect their prey. They are the only known fish that has the ability to both produce and see red light, as most fish can only see a more blue light. So while these guys are definitely very creepy to look at, they're also pretty interesting and talented. In our number 6 spot today, we have the JELLIES. Okay, I've got 3 words for you. Giant sea scorpion. Yeah, remind me to never go into prehistoric oceans. This 8-foot-long arthropod lived in the water with its gross 2 large pinchers and claws, and honestly, it looks like something out of the movie Alien. These guys had segmented bodies, and they're actually the largest known arthropod to have ever existed here on Earth. They had multiple specialized limbs, and some of them even had spikes, like for example, their 18-inch spiked claw that was used to snatch fish as they passed by. It is said that some of these guys would crawl out of the water in order to mate, and sometimes shed their outer skin, and all I have to say is imagine finding an 8-foot-long molt of one of these creatures on the beach right before you're about to jump in for a swim. You wouldn't, right? I'd swear off all water after that. Not even drinking it anymore. In our number 5 spot today, we have the goblin shark. A goblin shark is sometimes called a living fossil because the rest of the family that this type of shark belongs to have actually gone extinct. These sharks have pink skin and a long snout that sticks out really far, and these really creepy teeth that are like nails. When these sharks were first discovered by humans in 1910, the guy who was researching them wrote that the new shark is certainly grotesque, and honestly, not much has changed since then. I'd definitely be inclined to agree. They usually grow to around 3 or 4 meters, which is 10 to 13 feet, but in 2000 there was one that was caught that was 6 meters or 20 feet long. These sharks tend to stay pretty deep in the ocean, with the adults swimming even deeper than the young ones, so the good news about that is they probably aren't much of a threat to humans. In our number 4 spot today, we have the KRONOSAURUS. This Cretaceous marine reptile is one that had an elongated head, a short neck, and a stiff body that was propelled by not just 1, but 2 sets of fins that helped propel it through the water and through strong currents in order to capture whatever prey it was after. These guys were somewhere around 30 to 40 feet in length, and they had many long, sharp, conical teeth, with some of them being enlarged to be fangs. So yeah, I mean, what more could you want in a terrifying sea creature? Along with the fossils found of these guys, experts have been able to determine some of the stuff they ate, and it includes turtles, as well as other pliosaurs, which these guys are a part of that genus, meaning they basically ate their own family. I'm just saying, the Meg might have some stiff competition when it comes to these guys. In our number 3 spot today, we have stonefish. These fish are one of the most venomous known fish, and although they are primarily marine, some species are known to live in rivers as well. Most of these guys can be found in coral reefs near the tropical Pacific and Indian Oceans. The name of these fish comes from their camouflage color, which allows them to blend in with their surroundings, but unfortunately, because they are so good at disguising themselves, swimmers may not notice or see them and then inadvertently step on them, which can cause a whole slew slew of issues. When a stonefish is disturbed, it will inject an amount of venom proportional to the amount of pressure it's feeling, and this venom is coming from the glands at the base of their needle-like dorsal fin. The sting of a stonefish is said to be extremely painful, and if left untreated, it can certainly be fatal. The poison within the venom that the stonefish possesses is a proteinaceous toxin called verrucotoxin. The symptoms of this poison include respiratory weakness, damage to the cardiovascular system, convulsions, and paralysis. Although there are many studies that have been done on this toxin, much about how it works and the exact mechanisms of it are not yet fully understood, which just places this already terrifying creature in a cloud of mystery. In our number 2 spot today, we have the Leviathan. If we were to look at our ocean today, we of course would see sharks as one of the top predators that exist. I mean, some sharks are huge and they certainly know how to hunt, but they aren't the only scary creatures roaming the oceans. Sometimes killer whales make such a grand appearance that they even scare off some of the most terrifying sharks and make them flee for incredible distances. This is something that was also seen many years ago, I mean millions of years ago, during the time of the Megalodon, and that is thanks to a gigantic creature known as the Leviathan. If you are unfamiliar, this is a now extinct genus of macroraptorial sperm whale. It is believed that they could weigh around 100,000 pounds and reach up to 57 feet in length, and it's thought that their size is what helped repel other predators while helping them become the predator themselves. The Leviathan also had enormous teeth that reached over a foot in length, which is what gave them the title of largest bite of any tetrapod ever. In our number 1 spot today, we have the long-armed squid. Listen, not all that terrifying, but they're just so creepy and gross. The big fin squid is not often seen, and thank goodness for that, because they are so unbelievably freaky. They can be found in many different oceans, but they live in the permanently dark zone of the ocean, around 1,219 meters or 4,000 feet deep in the sea. On November 11th, 2007, as an ROV was searching around the deep waters in the Gulf of Mexico, it was able to catch one of these guys on film. While there is still a ton that remains a mystery about these very elusive creatures, it is believed that they can grow to be around 23 feet long or over 7 meters. The real creepy stance that these guys have is when they hold their extremely long appendages perpendicular to their body, which creates like a sort of elbow look. I don't know, it just freaks me out. Imagine waking up and having a giant squid with elbows floating around your room. I know it's not gonna happen, but I'm just saying, that would be very scary. Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have the Plesiosaurus. These guys are a prehistoric creature that was massive and grew to be about 43 feet long. They had these super long necks that basically took up like half of their body, and even though they were so massive, they had no trouble moving efficiently through the water. These creatures had 4 flippers, so our best guess as to how they swam would be sort of like a penguin, with their front limbs doing most of the work while the back ones kind of take hold of this steering part. Fossils have been able to show us that these creatures gave birth to live young and are actually kind of similar to dolphins in the way they take care of their young. It is thought that these just may be the creatures that inspired the tales of the Loch Ness Monster.
At number 9, we have the deep sea dragonfish. Any fish with the name dragon in it is sure to be a sight for sore eyes, literally. This fish has humongous teeth, a pretty ugly face, hashtag sorry not sorry, and is known to be a deep underwater assassin. These fish are 6 inches or 15 centimeters long and live at the depths of 6,000 to 7,000 feet. Like many of these deep water creatures, the dragonfish also has the highly sought after bioluminescent feature. Beneath its chin dangles a lighted barbell that is used to communicate with other fish, as well as is used for camouflage when need be. Other fish mistaken the light bulb for another smaller fish or even prey of its own, only to be surprised that itself is the prey and that it's way too late. Chomp! Some dragonfish even have gained the ability to glow red. Some believe that the red glow is used to signal its deep water brethren, while others believe it to be a signal of the dragonfish about to pounce. Either way, a glowing red fish sounds terrifying to me no matter how big or small, so I'ma stay in the shallow end. At number 8, we have the deep sea hatchetfish. Why is it called a hatchetfish? Well, imagine if that hatchet in your garage had fins, eyes, gills, and could swim freely around the ocean. Then it would pretty much look like this guy. Or one of these guys, because believe it or not, there are over 40 different species of hatchetfish out there, and I'm sure there is more somewhere. These fish are the same size as the dragonfish, so they aren't that big, but they can be found at depths of 5,000 feet. Be careful though, these guys are also sneaky because because they have that highly sought after bioluminescent feature and can camouflage themselves from predators quite easily as well. I mean, we won't see them often because of the depths that they live at, but that's okay. I'm not complaining. I like seeing the hatchet stay where it belongs. In my garage, safely kept away from the water and only taken out when having backyard campfires. And man oh man does that sound good right now. Coming in at number 7 we have comb jellies. They have a much more scientific name, but I think comb jellies is much more fun, and if you really care about the scientific name, I'll let you take a stab at it on your own. Anyway, these crazy light up alien like fish can come in sizes from a few inches all the way up to 5 feet. Luckily, like their other jellyman cousin, the actual jellyfish, these guys don't have any stingers. But they will attack their own sometimes, so watch out for those underwater MMA matches between these guys. They swim through the ocean by swaying their comb teeth-like tentacles on the side of their body, and they are another sight for sore eyes, really. Just recently, the New York Times found a new way to continue researching these creatures by taking samples of their DNA from a process that is called environmental DNA sampling, where scientists collect snippets of DNA from fallen hair, skin, and mucus that the creatures shed into their environment underwater. It is said that the 200 known species could rise to 6 to almost 800 using this new system. I kinda would love some more, but can't deny that these creatures look totally out of this world, so props to the jellymans. At number 6 we have the sea devil anglerfish. So if a fish has the name dragon or devil in its name, you know it's one to probably look out for. Found deep in the Mariana Trench, probably from swimming up from hell, is the sea devil anglerfish. It has a crazy misshapen body, sorry to body shame, the razor-like teeth and fins, and teeth and eyes that can disappear just like that. Yeah, sounds like some demonic powers to me. Luckily for everyone on the planet, these fish aren't that big. Females are larger, and the biggest they can grow to be is 8 inches long, while males are only about 2 inches. It also has a bioluminescent bulb on top of its head that lures in prey before it even has a second to swim away. Now, does this sound familiar? Yeah, it should, because if you ever watched Finding Nemo, then this is the fish that Marlin and Dory almost got eaten by. So if you happen to be a superhuman and can swim at great depths to see these scary fish, in the words of Dory, just keep swimming. Coming in at our halfway point at number 5, we have the frilled shark. Remember the puffy shirt from Seinfeld with all of the frills? Well, Jerry looked pretty terrible in it, and this shark looks terrifying in it. Well, with them, not in it, because let's face it, the shark isn't wearing a shirt, but either way, I'm sure it could still make the shirt look cooler than Jerry Seinfeld. Anyway, this shark has the body of an eel with the head of probably one of the scariest creatures on Earth. It has 6 frilly gills on the side of its head to no one's surprise, and can measure up to 6 feet in length. That's longer than me. It also has 20 rows of razor-sharp, trident-shaped teeth that will tear right through any flesh it can sink its teeth into. They usually live in waters around 4,000 feet deep, and the odd time humans catch one and bring them to the surface, but please don't do this. 1, because don't go near these crazy things, and 2, because these creatures can't handle life above as they are used to the great underwater pressure. Any brought to the surface will almost die immediately. So remember, frilled sharks are friends, not food. Okay, we have had dragon and demon in the names of some of our underwater creatures today. Can you guess one more that we might haven't have said? No? Well, how about goblin? That's right, coming in at number 4 we have the frilled shark's trusty companion, the goblin shark. If you get one look at these things, you will understand exactly why these things are called goblin sharks. They have a large protruding snout, then underneath that is a protruding jaw of razor sharp teeth. Honestly, once again, to put it simply, these guys are just straight up ugly and scary. They also aren't the normal gray color that most sharks are. They are instead colored with a pinkish hue. In case these guys aren't scary enough, you will be happy to know that these things grow to be 18 feet in length. But you probably won't ever see one, as they live at depths of 3,000 feet and go deeper the older they get. Other than that, there is not much known about these creatures because of how deep they live, but also because of how freaking scary they are. Yeah, Dewey ain't going anywhere near that thing. Starting us off in our top 3, at number 3 is the Dumbo octopus. I know, the thing doesn't sound or seem that scary. After all, it's named after a freaking Disney cartoon, I get it, but these crazy looking things are known to eat its prey whole. They only grow to be about a foot in length, but if they can swallow its prey whole, I don't want to imagine how big its prey can be. Because maybe they even eat like snakes, who knows? Anyway, these guys live at depths of 9,800 to 13,000 feet and are actually the deepest dwelling octopus known to science. That's pretty cool. So while these guys actually look kinda cute, I'm sure they are quite the scare for some deep water fish, as well as who knows if they evolved to have larger cousins at the very bottom of the sea. Who knows? Yeah, I don't. At our number 2 spot, we have the cousin of Dumbo, the telescope octopus. These things are so weird and also have a completely transparent body. Well, almost, so I guess that makes it more translucent, but I don't know. Anyway, these weird looking octopi live at depths of 6,500 feet and they don't swim horizontally either. They actually just float vertically, making it harder for deep sea predators to spot it. It also has webbing between its tentacles, giving it a ghostly-like shape. And one last thing that makes it kinda creepy is that these creatures have wicked eyes. In its head are 2 protruding eyeballs that can fully rotate and keep an eye out for its deep water predators. What kind of predators? Well, let's check out our number 1 spot. And finally, coming in at number 1 spot is sea monsters. Okay. Have sea monsters actually been found in the deep waters of the Marianas Trench? No. But could there be? Absolutely. I know I have gone on and on about how little our oceans have been explored, but one of those specific places in our oceans is the Marianas Trench. It is so deep that no human on Earth can reach its depths fully, and even if they did, they would need an incredibly powerful pressurized submarine. So who the heck knows what else is swimming around at the bottom of our oceans? I mean, they said the giant squid was a legend and it turned out to be real, so anything goes, really. Let's just hope we find footage of a monster first and not find out the hard way, you know, by being lunch.